Hey, did you know we're also on Spotify? You can listen to No Offsides on Spotify while you're busting out reps in the gym, driving to your next tournament, mowing the lawn to gain brownie points with your wife because you're always gone at tournaments, or while you're getting in some much needed shooting and stick handling practice. So if you're into multitasking, make sure to follow us on Spotify, where you can listen to all of our awesome content on the Spotify app. What's up, Rink Rats? It's Woody. I'm here to tell you that this week's episode is brought to you by Champion Hockey. If you're looking for quality wheels, sticks, bags, and apparel, then look no further. Champion Hockey has everything you need to look and play like a champion. Check out top-of-the-line Legacy Series sticks and wheels and upgrade your game without breaking the bank. Go to champion.hockey to purchase your gear now, and make sure to check out Champion on Instagram at Champion Hockey to stay updated with products and events. Champion Hockey. Look like a champion.
No offside.
Welcome back for another episode of No Offsides, sponsored by Champion Hockey. I'm Dan Dean here with my partner Justin Wood.
What's up?
We have the honor today to talk with a professional woman athlete. She went from playing ice hockey to rolling in her crease. Welcome, O'Hara Shipe.
Hey, nice to be here, boys.
Thanks for being here.
We're glad to have you. We've had some local women's hockey players from our league join us early on when we first started out, but you are the first women's roller hockey that we can consider a pro.
That's awesome, and the first Alaskan, probably the last as well, because we use a different kind of skates where I'm from.
You sent us over a plethora of stuff about yourself and about your background. And I mean, honestly, Justin knows me. I dove right into the stats, but we'll get to them.
Mm-hmm.
And so you played and had a career in ice hockey.
I did, yeah. So, like I mentioned, I'm from Anchorage, Alaska, and I started playing when I was 5. Unbelievably enough, because the neighborhood kids said I couldn't be a goalie because I was a girl, and I couldn't play hockey because I was a girl, and incidentally, I was a girl twice for both of their complaints. But I marched right over to my parents because we had a little cul-de-sac where we grew up in, and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go play hockey." They looked at me like I was crazy because no one in my family had ever done organized sports before. It's just not, Alaska was very much the Wild West in the 80s. And so, we just didn't really have that. So I went out for Boys and Girls Club to play my first year. And I remember they said, well, we want to have goalie tryouts. And I was like, no, I'm O'Hara. I'm going to be your goalie. They're like, well, we're still going to do tryouts. And so we played like floor hockey. And like I had no pads and I was diving all over the place and just making all these saves and I was bruised and I'm like, I didn't care what I had to do. I was going to prove these guys wrong. And that's basically how I got started at the tender age of 5.
Nice.
I know. Apparently don't tell me not to do something and I'll probably do it. Unless you tell me to get scored on, in which case I'll try not to do it.
Yeah. Well, and then so you obviously then took up ice hockey, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, I mean, how did a career of ice hockey come to be? I mean, what happened in your career?
Yeah. So I started with the Boys and Girls Club, obviously. And then I've always kind of been that type A personality that like, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it like to the best of my ability and I'm going to get as good as physically possible. And so I started, just training, going to summer camps, learning how to do it. I grew up like most kids, I would say in like the early 90s on a pair of rollerblades, the Mighty Ducks jersey, out in the yard playing street hockey. So I was just constantly on skates, whether they were wheels or ice blades. I ended up playing, I think I must have been 12 when I was playing U19 girls. There just wasn't a lot of options for women's hockey. I remember my dad actually was on a group of people that were suing the Anchorage municipality to even get us ice time back in the day because, they were like, the boys teams need it, the girls teams don't. Boys are going to go somewhere, women aren't. So I would say like my background was really like overcoming adversity and like pushing through that. And so I just really serendipitous was in the rinks in Irvine, believe it or not, but they were the ice rinks, and I was there for a tournament when I was 12 years old, playing U19. It was regionals, and I saw a guy wearing a Yale University shirt. And my mom's like, "Go talk to him, go talk to him." I'm like, "Oh my God, I don't even know what Yale is. Like, I'm terrified. Like, what is this?" And she's like, "Just go do it, go do it, go do it." And I went up and talked to the guy, and he was like, "Oh, yeah, I saw you play. I was going to send you a recruitment letter." He's like, "But you look younger than I thought you were." I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm 12. I'm like knee-high to a grasshopper. Still am, but like even worse." I might have been a blade of grasshopper at the point. And so he's like, "Oh, you need to go to a place called Andover." And, this is, then kids watching this are probably going to be like, I don't, like, there was a time when there wasn't internet. But alas, children, there was a time when there wasn't really internet. And so I was trying to figure out what he meant by Andover. We kept trying to like figure it out. We were looking up places that were like ANN Dover, like Bendover. I don't know, couldn't find it. Ended up finding this prep school in New England, and sight unseen, I applied and ended up going. Had no idea what I was getting into. But it was just, the hockey wasn't happening in Alaska. And it was, my parents believed in my dream of wanting to be the first woman to actually play in the NHL, not just not a scrimmage. So they let me go, 5,000 miles across the country, to this little town in Andover, Massachusetts, to attend Phillips Academy Andover, as it were. And I spent 4 years there as a varsity goaltender. On the women's side, I started all but one game in the 4 years I was there, which is pretty cool. And then I also,
awesome.
when I look back at it, I'm like, oh, people don't do that. That's nuts. Okay. And then while I was there, I played for Assabet Valley, which is this, back in the day, like this huge program. We used to sweep nationals on the women's side all the way from like U12 to women's senior A and B. And so I got to win a couple national titles, and that got me noticed by Team USA Ice, and then also Brown University. So long story, skipping a bunch, but so I ended up on the East Coast playing Division I hockey, and then decided to go pro my junior and senior year in college.
Hell yeah!
And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was under the pretenses of studying abroad. So my first pro. Yeah, I was studying abroad. So my first pro contract was actually in right outside of Moscow, Russia. This place called Dimitrov. But I was studying abroad in Dublin, Ireland. So I was commuting because that's that was what people do, I guess. So yeah, I just that was how I got into pro back in 2007. I think it was.
All right, and if you love this show, then you will also love the College Roller Foundation. The College Roller Foundation is a volunteer-run, tax-exempt 501c3 nonprofit organization that exists solely to raise and distribute funds to deserving college roller hockey student athletes in the form of scholarships. The College Roller Foundation isn't a tournament series, league, championship, governing body, or sanctioning agency, but rather works with partners to host events to raise and distribute all those dollar bills to roller players who also like to get their academia on. By raising money through donations and divvying out these scholarships to the players, the College Roller Foundation seeks to grow the game of roller in college. And if you're interested in finding more info, helping out, or donating, please visit www.collegerollerfoundation.com and make sure to follow them on Instagram at College Roller Foundation. College Roller Foundation, growing the roller game one scholarship at a time. It's time to join a revolution in roller with US Roller Cup, a premier roller hockey tournament series. The US Roller Cup is led by a passion for the sport. US Roller Cup is driven to create an unparalleled experience for players, fans, and coaches alike. With a focus on promoting roller hockey at all levels from youth to professional, we are committed to growing the game and fostering a sense of community within the roller hockey world. To find out more information, find tournaments near you, or to sign up for an upcoming tournament, go to www.usrollercup.com and be sure to follow USRC on Instagram at US Roller Cup. US Roller Cup, a revolution in roller.
So pro in Russia?
Yeah, so I was the first North American ever signed in the Russian league. I incidentally spoke Russian because I would love to say it's an Alaska thing, but I just always thought Russians were cool. Not so much at the moment, maybe. Um, I know it's
Don't
always
worry.
awkward to like hide the fact that I have a Russian tattoo. Like, what is Ukrainian? What? But I ended up playing there. And have some crazy stories from there. But my senior year in college, I ended up playing in Russia, in Ireland on the men's side, and then jumping over to Sweden, and was the first North American signed in the Swedish Elite League for women that same year. And then after that season ended, 3 months later, I ended up in Toronto, Canada. So I ended up playing in 4 countries in the span of 1 season, which is still kind of insane to think about, but time felt normal. And then I still managed to graduate from Brown during my study abroad, which is basically show up for orientation, like maybe go out one night and have some fun, then fly off to Russia, and then come back for finals.
Nice.
Impressive.
Yeah, or just really bad idea. One of the two.
The question is, though, is did you enjoy yourself?
Yeah.
I had so much fun.
It was a great idea.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would love to tell you guys off air some of the Russian stories that other people might judge me for. Russia really is anything. There's just crazy stuff that happens. And I'd love to tell you when I first signed my first pro contract that it was just fun and there was no alcohol involved. We drank juice.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah,
Russians don't love vodka.
No, it was not juice chased with vodka. That was not. I'll have to tell you that story off air. That's a pretty good one.
Deal.
Yeah, sounds good. So you I would say, you're the first North American woman to join these leagues, right? So, you went, and I'm going to call it success because that's an awesome story to have, right?
Yeah.
But then roller hockey.
Yeah. So yeah, it was kind of a crazy way to get into it, right? So I ended up playing overseas, for 7 years. I played in the Canadian Women's Hockey League, which is the precursor to the PWHL, obviously, and the Swedish Elite League and the Russian League, and had this great career. But my last season in Russia, I blew out my hip. Like most goalies have that injury. I would say the labrum tear, but my surgeon ended up saying it looked like a bomb went off in my hip, and that he'd never seen that much damage in someone my age. And I was only 28, I think, at the time. And I just, I remember like the first Russian doctor that saw me was like, he just kind of felt around on my leg and he goes, "Your career's over." And I'm like, "No, it's not. I have 3 years left. It's not over." He's like, "No, I've felt this before," because it was the KHL doctor, and he's like, "I felt it before, and a ton of goalies, your career is over." And so when I went back to the States and was able to get, hip surgery, I was basically told the same thing, like, your career is over. And unfortunately, like, while in Russia, I also contracted viral meningitis from a dirty needle. I know, right? Great luck. So like when they were looking at my hip, they tried to do this like nerve injection in my back to see if maybe it was just like back pain, and it wasn't my hip. It was a dirty needle. So I ended up getting viral meningitis. So like not only, and then, I didn't really think anything of it besides obviously like overcoming being sick. And then I had that surgery on my hip. And it ended up being like this cascading tipping point for me where my body just couldn't handle, the illnesses, couldn't handle healing anymore. And so I developed fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome. And so I spent about, after 2013 retiring, and then I spent about, 6 years in Alaska, just like these disparate symptoms from like seizures to like dehydration, the gastro upset, excruciating pain, and like no one really knew what it was. Like all my vitals kept coming back normal, couldn't figure out what it was. So I came out to Scottsdale, Arizona, and went to the Mayo Clinic and ended up getting diagnosed with these things. And to hear again, like not only is your hockey career over, but now like your sporting career is over. That at the time I got diagnosed in 2016, 2017, the doctor said, "You're going to be lucky if you can walk a block." Yeah. And
that's not what you want to hear.
No, it's not, because I had kind of like overcome the hip thing and was able to sort of like work back into playing beer league occasionally. And it was painful, but, I could kind of like literally limp my way through it. And so like hearing from these Mayo Clinic doctors that like my whole sporting career was over, and they were right for a time. There was definitely a 6-month period where I was completely bedbound. There's definitely periods, over the last like 4 or 5 years where like I could walk a block and then I'd be exhausted or couch bound for like 2-3 days after. And then, I'm getting to the roller part here soon.
But,
is,
listen, I'm going to say it's great. And keep going. It's not great news to hear what happened to you, but it is.
It's a good story.
It's a good story.
Well, it does have a good punchline, so if that part works out. So I 2020 hit, and that was kind of like, as crazy as this is to say, like that ended up being the body reset that I needed, because the world shut down, and all of a sudden, like, I wasn't having stress. Because if you know anything about fibromyalgia, it's stress will make it worse. Mm-hmm. And like, yes, there is obviously stress in the world, but I wasn't having work stress anymore. And like, it was fully acceptable to not shower for like 2 weeks, if we all remember, and like, so I literally just, my body got this opportunity to like reset. And then because I didn't have work on top of it, I was like, all right, today we're going to walk a block, and I might be tired for 2 or 3 days, but as soon as I'm not tired, I'm going to walk a block again. And I slowly built my way up over the next 2 years to being able to like actually work out and walk 5 miles a day, run stairs. And then I got the crazy idea to start playing rugby as a way to sort of like celebrate. I know, right? Nuts. So at 36 years old, I joined a rugby team. And it was a different kind of pain. Obviously, yeah. Pain, so it made the fibro pain seem less worse somehow. But there was kind of like this big comeback story of getting to do this and getting to play ice hockey a couple times a week again. Like, I was starting to get my life back. And I got invited to play in this roller hockey tournament with a bunch of ice guys, which, let's just say, it did not go well. The Lebeda Cup out in Arizona. I didn't know what you guys were talking about. Like, people were talking about, they said, like, you can tell when it's an ice guy. I was like, whatever, we're better play. No, we're goofy. I now get it. Like, we're hella goofy. So I showed up in the Lebeda Cup with the Alaskans, and I actually met Coach Dave Marmerstein, longtime coach for Team USA Women's. Obviously, he's directing the National Development Program for USARS right now. And he was excited when he heard there's a female goalie. And then coming into the tournament, he's like, oh, good, new blood. And then he heard that I was an ice goalie. He goes, oh, ice goalies they can't play roller. Like, they'll never be as good as a goalie. So bring me back to the magic words. He said the magic, exactly. Yeah, bring me back to 5 years old. Like, oh, I can't play goalie, huh? And so like, I played that whole tournament and kind of got the bug. Was like, you know what? I'm gonna move out there and prove this guy wrong. And exactly 8 months later, I arrived at the Peoria Sportsplex and rented an apartment like 4 miles from the rink. And just jumped into it. And like, in the back of my head this whole time was like, I'm gonna prove this guy wrong. Like, I'm gonna get good at this. Just watch.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and like, I'll be honest, y'all. Like, it was bad. Like, my first skates were these like 2004 Bowers that we took the cowlings off of, and then we mounted a 1990s Lebeda chassis, which, like, I didn't even know what a chassis was, so I was like, this thing's cool. But incidentally, Rob would probably laugh about this now, but like, those chassis don't fit modern wheels. So I had a set of Connex I had outdoor wheels at first, because I didn't know there was outdoor and indoor wheels. Like, it was wheels. I didn't know what a bearing was, none of this. So we just like jammed these into this chassis and they wouldn't even wheel. Like, you would go and it would just go. Oh, yeah. So I would have to like walk to get to the crease. And then I looked like a soccer goalie because I was like, I kept trying to slide, right? Like, I'd go like to slide to make a save, and they don't, yeah. Incidentally, tile is not slippery. So I would
and it's too early for roller flies.
Yeah, well, yeah, I didn't, yeah, well, plus it's heavy already. I'm already big. I don't need to add more weight to my get up. So I would try to slide, and I would end up just like falling over and tipping, and it was just super embarrassing. And it wasn't until I met my partner Eric Hernandez and saw him playing, I was like, oh dude, that's sexy. Like, wait, you can like rotate like an ice goalie? Like, wait, you can T-push? That's a thing? Yeah, I know. The joke is like, I knew I wanted to date him because I thought he was so sexy in his gear. Don't ask. That happened.
The goalie thing.
Yeah,
Dude, I was like, oh my god, that butterfly boy. But he ended up like, sorry, that's my dog in the background here, but yeah, he ended up like working with me, just as friends, and taught me how to tie my stuff. Like, was like, hey, you need to get an actual like roller skate. That would probably be a good thing to do, and because they were bad. And so yeah, he kind of taught me how to get into it, and then once I knew the basics, I just started going dogged. I ended up playing, I think, 253 games my first roller season.
dang.
Yeah, kind of a staggering amount. Everyone makes fun of me for like the fact that I counted that, but it's just because I have a fitness tracker, so it's not actually that weird.
Oh,
Maybe.
Okay.
I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I wish I knew how many goals I've played last year.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me feel better. Like, I don't want to know how many goals I let in, because that's depressing. But like, definitely how many games. Yeah, so I just went and dogged it. I was playing 10 games a week when I first came out, and was able to play my first Narch like 3 months after starting roller. Then it all just kind of took off from there. I'm gonna let this animal in too because he's gonna be making noise, y'all. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, dog. Yeah. Okay. You see a pit bull back here. Okay, let's not knock everything off the desk, big dog.
What's the dog's name?
Yeah, this is Luke. He's
Awesome.
yeah, he's a 90-pound crackhead pit bull. But
Okay.
Perfect.
yeah. Oh yeah, he's right here in the corner. Luke.
Yeah.
Hey.
So you went from proving this. You went from ice hockey to proving this USA coach wrong to racking up crazy amount of games in roller hockey, right? And I mean, you sent this over kind of like your experience and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so like, sure, in some of these tournaments that you've gone to, you may not have come out victorious, but as Justin knows, I'm a stat guy, and for goalies, and I look at it too, right? And I'm like, well, you either look at goals against, which doesn't really paint a picture in roller hockey.
Yeah.
But what does is goals against average.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, besides, but here's the thing though, right? Is your highest that you sent us is a 2.8.
Yeah.
Which in roller hockey is not a terrible stat.
It's
not at
terrible.
all.
I'm not gonna lie. 2.8. I was like, can I just not put this up?
But it's roller hockey though. I mean, if you look at all social medias of all leagues and you look at the top goalie for goals against average, and you're probably eclipsing almost 4, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't even, because I always ask, Eric and other goalies about this, like, what is a good save percentage for a roller goalie? Like, what is a good GAA? Because my mind, like, I'm still playing for the Stanley Cup Finals, like, even though we're a beer league all-star. And so, like, I don't even know. Like, to me, 2.8, I was like, oh God, do I have to put this one on there? Like, I was sweating tough.
But you look at it though, you get like 1.4s, 1.7s. You have some that are under 0.1, right? I mean, you are putting in work here. I mean, was that and Pacific Cup 0.8 with a 5-0 record and 3 shut. I mean, the shutouts here, are
shutouts are nuts.
Yeah, I mean, shutouts in roller hockey is unheard of.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing, but that tournament was nuts though. I mean, like, it was a thrown together team. Like at the very last minute, we didn't, none of us had played together, and like all of a sudden, like I had 3 shutouts back to back in round robin, and then I think they only scored 1 goal in the semifinal. So like going into the championship game, like I had only let in 1 goal, which is like, I'm like, I've never even had these numbers in ice hockey. Like, I don't know what's happening. Like, I want to keep the hockey gods happy because this is epic. But yeah, like I still really couldn't account for it. Like, I know I've put in a lot of work, but like something's been lucky. I don't know. Maybe I staged the net right, like because those stats to me, even looking at him as an ice goalie, it's like that they're unreal. Like I can't even process them, except for that 2.8. I hate that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at ice hockey, right, and you go point 0.9, 90% save percentages where they want you to be in ice hockey, right? But you got to think there's more players in the rink. Roller hockey is more space because there's more shots. So there's more skill. And it's harder for a goalie. Let's be honest here. In ice hockey, you can go down your butterfly and slide across the rink. Now, you can do that in roller hockey with roller flies and whatnot. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, it's still not as easy as ice hockey to move side to side.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's a whole different. It's like a whole different game. Like I kind of equate like ice hockey to checkers, where it's like this super aggressive game, and it's always like go 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 go. And then roller, I think, is a long game, and it's all chess. Like when do you work it back into your D zone to do a new attack? When are you going to cycle? Are you going to do a dump and chase? Like, it's been such a huge adjustment. But I think a good portion of what's actually translated really well for me is the fact that I had goalie coaches growing up in ice hockey that really, really drove home positioning.
Yeah.
And fighting to make sure the puck is always in the center of your body. And then at my height, and just, the era that I played, we slid, but nothing like, goalies do now. Like, they're just constantly on their knees. So I think I actually benefited a little bit from being an older goalie. I'm 38, and being from a generation that didn't rely on sliding. I think if I were a modern ice goalie trying to come over, like, especially without sliders, because I don't play with sliders, I think it would be like impossible. It's such a different game. And then also just getting comfortable playing on your knees. Like, I hate it. Like, I always feel so exposed. And I've just been forcing myself and watching like old videos of like Jetta Ratcliffe playing, for example. Probably one of the best women's goalie to ever play the game. And I'm like, how did she do it? Like, how does she move? And granted, she's like a foot taller than me, lucky. But like, how is she doing her movements? Studying Eric, Jimmy Teed, probably one of my favorite goalies to watch. Yeah. Absolutely love how he moves. And if you watch him, like, what makes him so good is he's positionally unreal and his skating skill. And so like, that's all I've really honed in on, is just like repetition, constantly. And I think that's kind of what's giving me the edge, is that like, I just fight positionally constantly. But that said, like by, getting like a 98% save ratio at your first narch is still like kind of mind blowing. Still not sure how that happened. And this was back in the Lebeda chassis era with the wheels that didn't actually wheel. So
I actually went back in your Instagram and I think I found these.
Yeah. I did not. Yeah, you saw them, right? Yeah, I did not actually wheel at all. Like, they kept sticking. Actually, funnily enough, for that tournament, Rose Bowl Hockey took a chance on me. They'd never heard of me, and let me play. And I like show up to the first game at like 6:50 in the morning. I think on the big rink. Was that one Casey or Corey? One of the C's. And I'm like, oh, this is so cool, guys. I've never been able to slide before. I'm like, it feels like ice. And I slipped on the water and ended up going ass over tea kettle, like blocker flies. This is probably on. Oh, no, it's not on Live Bar anymore. Thank God. Okay, may it die in infamy. My blocker went flying. My helmet goes flying. And I'm sure these girls are like, who in the hell is this goalie? Like, what did we do? And then we ended up losing that game like 5-1. It was like the most I'd ever let in a tournament game ever. I mean, ice, roller, anything ever. I just was like, man, I'm terrible. This is going to be so bad. And then turned around and all of a sudden started getting shutouts after that first game. And ended up like in the silver final, I think, for women, where we lost 1-0 in the championship. Irony. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like losing.
Me neither.
Right? Oof. No, I'm nervous. 2 teams this upcoming March. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, and to go back to what you're saying, focusing on position wise, right? Is I play goalie as I'm not a full-time goalie.
Yeah.
Justin will say that I'm good. I don't claim to be good in net at all.
I just sitting there quietly. He's like,
he's my goalie right now for league.
By choice, or I'm totally kidding. Yeah.
He drafted me.
I drafted him.
But
I fit.
So no, you're good. And so the one thing I tell these goalies, because I obviously want our goalies in our league to get better. I want these young kids to learn how to play goalie correctly. And I always tell them 90% of the battle is being on your angles correctly.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah,
and obviously the math's probably not there, but that's just to tell them, like, if you're in the right position, the puck is more likely to hit you, not go in the net.
Yeah, no, and like the longer you can stay on your feet too, I think, as a roller goalie, and like not bite on all the like dipsy doodle moves that people like to do. As soon as you bite, you're done. Like we can maybe dive, maybe, and it's cool, but it's probably gonna go in. You're just gonna look like an idiot. So like, for me, like, you just constantly working on that T push. Like I do it nonstop. Like anytime I can get on the scoreboard, like we're just T pushing, and working on it. And like, I would say for like any young goalie, the better of a skater you are, that's still, that old Adam, that like the goalie's the best skater on the team. I think it really is a thing still.
Okay.
Like it's a stupid adage, but like if you can T push and you can constantly be in position and you can get comfortable, I call it crab walking. But basically like, the roller version of shuffling, aka stepping, which I still feel like a dork doing. I really, in my head, I'm like, I look so dumb. But like the more you do that, just the easier your job's gonna be. And then rebound control. That's what, man, because you never know what these pucks are gonna do. It just does not react the same way as an ice puck. Like, and I still don't know how the puck like flies straight up sometimes when it hits your blocker at an angle. You're like, physics said that should not have happened. Like
plastic says otherwise.
Dude, that's my new hashtag. Oh my, stolen. Yeah, it happens to me all the time where I'm like, that literally hit me dead square in the chest. Why is it still rolling? Because roller hockey. Like, but those are the big things I'm constantly focusing on. It's just like, I want to have the best rebound control in the game, and I want to have the best positioning, and the rest kind of will fall into place.
Yeah, unfortunate for other goalies, being able to play both positions, I look at the weaknesses that I have and I instill them on the others when I play out and shoot on goalies. So, like where you say where you feel dumb when you're, crab walking or doing your side to side shuffle.
Right.
That's the hardest part for goalies though too, is not only doing whether that T push or that side to side shuffle, but also having to go side to side and keep your stick in position.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Do you have that thing where do you flip your stick? I do it all the time. I flip my stick over now. I'm like, what the hell am I doing?
So I like to cut across the middle and shoot 5-hole. So
you're that guy.
Yeah.
I yard sale so much and it drives me insane. Like I would never in my life like come over to a back door like dink. Like who's gonna make a save like on the back of their stick? But for some reason I'm roller. Like, and hopefully none of the women's pro teams are listening to this right now. If they are, I will not do that at Arch Finals, so that's not actually an open shot. But no, like it's funny, like some of the technical stuff, like I constantly feel like I'm yard sailing and just throwing stuff. But I'm kind of horrified that like my ice teammates see these videos sometimes. They're like, that's an interesting sport. I'm like, it sure is. But yeah, no, it's funny because I've been doing it I'm only a year now, but I think I've played in like every major tournament, and like sometimes my brain still shuts off and I try to like slide into something. Like there was I messed up a pass the other night. I don't know, I just shanked it. The other team picked it up and I started skating towards the net and like dove, like I was gonna slide into making the save, and I ended up stopping like 6 feet wide of the net, like just and like knocked the wind out of myself. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, not ice. Sorry. I forgot.
But, okay. You can ask Justin how my performance went on Monday.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm going to go ahead and ask Justin right now. What's the play-by-play?
Well, at one point he was trying to pick off the D to D passes between me and the other D behind our own net. I'm not exactly sure what that was. No, we were having a good time.
I read the pass, but I missed it.
Dude, story of my life.
That's the thing though is when I play goalie. Well, we were also killing the team as well, so I started messing around a little bit. It was also 80 degrees outside and humid, and so I not only gave away 2 goals, but I tried stealing passes from my defenseman. And
that's actually kind of fun. Not me, man. I think like my men's league players are like, just don't try to pass. Like I definitely have like a few of them that are like, if you could just not pass, like just
that's the opposite of what I say. I actually got yelled at by Dan for not moving fast enough out of the zone for him to give me a breakout pass.
See how much effort that I'm just trying to get apples here. Like that's
Justin was going up the left side wall near the hash marks and stopped skating, and I threw a pass underneath the forechecker stick, and Justin went to go full reach for it, and I was like, Justin, why'd you stop moving your feet?
You also. I'm with you on this, Dan.
All right. Here's the thing, though. Dan doesn't shoot like a normal goalie.
No,
he rips them all backhand. So sometimes you're not sure it's actually coming. I thought he was maybe going to do a little spinorama on a guy. I've seen him do it before.
Oh yeah,
I thought he would skate around with it for another 5 minutes.
So
keep moving, man. Like stand
there.
Well,
so you know how most goalies will slide their glove to the butt end and shoot lefty, right? Well, actually, no, their glove hands at the bottom, right?
Yeah, I was
no. So I keep my hand on near the paddle, and I'll
do that flick thing.
I'll do the backhand flick because I'm a righty when I play out. So I'll do the backhand flick as but with the curve, so it's easier. But when I get the puck to play it in the corner, I'm on my backhand.
Oh.
And so I'll make a pass off my backhand up the boards, like as a righty.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
And I'll also dangle people like that too.
I mean, I'll
exactly why I didn't know he was passing it. I thought he was going to dangle this guy.
Is there video of this? Like, I'm gonna need to see this afterwards.
I don't think
we need video proof it didn't happen.
I'm not sure. We've cut down on our videoing our games.
We'll film the next one and we'll send it to you.
I'm gonna need to see this. Yeah, no. Can you teach me how to dangle? Like, I used to do like that Turcotte stick handling stuff as a kid. Like, because they would let goalies go for free. And I was like, well, they're like, you don't have to show up for the stick handling part. I'm like, no, I'm gonna do it. So I have like these like report cards from being like 8 years old, like in my goalie gear, doing like Bobby Orr spin and like all the like there was a dot suit like in between the leg one. I never mastered that. I would always trip over my own stick, but I haven't attempted them. I break my own ankles trying to play forward. It's not good.
Yeah, when I try and do full rink clear, that's 50-50 though.
You're just smoking people in the head. You know, that's fair though. They deserve it.
Well, it's either that or it doesn't go anywhere.
Oh, do you Charlie Brown? You do not. You Charlie Brown.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Every so often.
I know. There's some video of me doing that too, where I like came back from Narch and like, you know, your legs are still like really tired for a few days after, and I tried to play. I went just I don't know, my legs seized up when I went to shoot, and I just fell backwards like out of nowhere, and then they scored an empty net goal. Yeah, some of my prouder moments. I'm really good at hockey. The Offsides podcast friends.
But instead of talking about me, because
sorry,
I don't like talking about myself. So as much as people would actually try and say I do, I want to talk about you. I want to talk about Women's Draft League.
Yes, yeah. So
champion captain.
Yeah, that was crazy. You know, Ali had approached me. I think it was at Winter Wars maybe, and asked me if I might be down. And I still had some PTSD from being a captain in high school, but I thought maybe this would like redeem any of the mistakes I made as a as a brand new leader. There was a lot of them. The goalie should not be in charge in this period. And so I agreed to do it, and like, man, I wish I had it still here sitting on my desk. They gave us like this list of like people, right? And I took this way too seriously probably because I didn't know half the names. I'm still new. I was like Instagramming like every single person. Like I had a rating system. I like printed the stuff out. I had my list like 1 to whatever 70 or however many people were in there. Like everyone was rated. I called friends and got like referrals. Like it was embarrassing for a draft league, right? Yeah. But I was like, I'm gonna do this, and then we get to the draft day, and we're kind of like this right now, like on a Google chat, and all of a sudden just blank. I went completely blank for the entire hour. I don't remember what names I picked. Like I just panicked. I don't know. I couldn't follow stuff, so I'm like sitting there with like the spreadsheets and it's like all this detailed work I'd done, and I got one player that was on the list. Oh my top one. I don't know. I just blacked out again. Goalies should not be in charge. And so I hung up from the call and I called my friend and I was like, I don't think that went well. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't know, dude. I just blacked out for an hour. Like, I don't know what happened. The stress got me. And I was like, man, like for the 2 weeks like leading up to this, all I kept thinking was like, man, what if I messed up? What if the girls don't have fun? Like, I put way too much pressure. I talked to the other captains. They're like, dude, I don't even have a group text. And I'm like, oh, so I shouldn't be sending them strategy and like game plans. No, this is for fun. My bad. But Champion was like super fun to work with. Like hooked us up with like jerseys and wheels and pants and like super epic. And like the team actually ended up doing well. We ended up losing in the semifinals to the tournament winner. So like it's kind of crazy. Like I guess blackout's the way to go. But I mean, like I'm laughing now, but like seriously, like I blacked out. Like I don't. If you saw the spreadsheet too, it was color coordinated. I mean, it's like insane. Like I was an NHL GM. I don't know. But we ended up having like a really good time, and then we had already started working on like a Terrapins roster, and I'm like, man, are you sure someone wants to make me a captain again? Can I be a co-captain? And so we've been doing the same thing, with the Terrapins putting together their first ever women's pro team, at this Narch. And just trying to select players again. I'm not real good at all that. I just write pithy texts and talk a lot of shit. I feel like that's the better way to go. But yeah, no, it was very cool to be at that tournament. And like, I have to give a shout out to the little kids that were out there. There's a little girl named Dora. And I can't remember her first name, or her last name, but dude, that I've never seen like a young player, male or female, rip and wheel as hard as this kid could. And so it was like so rad to see these young girls like being supported and being in this environment. It was like so antithesis of everything that I experienced as a young girl growing up in ice hockey. It just made me really excited and want to be even more involved with women's roller and helping to grow the sport. Because it's like, oh wow, like look what these kids can be with stuff like the Dangle Dojo out there and like best shift training into the San Diego I think hockey club or wherever Ali's working with young girls. Like this is gonna be rad. Like women's hockey is gonna be so good in another like 5 years. Like it's already good, but it's gonna be like next level. I like cannot wait. Like we're gonna have like Ovechkin style. I can feel it. This Dora kid, maybe Crosby, maybe even Crosby. I don't like Crosby. I like Ovechkin. She's sick, dude. She'd dangle me. Like she's 8, I think, and she would fight me. It's depressing a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it was an awesome idea to do something like that because you see all these draft leagues coming out for was there one at Irvine, I think there is, right, and then there's one in San Diego, there's one in Long Island, right, and so you have these Instagram accounts that are kind of highlighting these draft leagues and everything like that. But to do a tournament, a women's draft tournament is just, it shows how much that women's roller hockey has grown.
Yeah.
And which is, it's amazing because I also feel like, and you can agree or disagree with me, that I don't even think we're anywhere close to the tip of the iceberg in growing women's roller hockey in general. Because let's be honest here. It's still lacking the attention on
Mhm.
social media. It's still, I feel it's still lacking the attention from tournaments. I still feel it's just lacking in general, and I think we can do so much more for
Right.
women's roller hockey to make it bigger.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know, I think like just how much it's grown even in the 1 year, which is crazy to say, but like the 1 year I've been involved, you know, now I think there's 12 women's gold teams. And like if I look at that field and I look at the players in it, that's going to be a sick division. I mean, just for women's gold. And like compared to what it was a year ago where I was able to get a 98% save ratio, I don't think that would happen this tournament. I think there's just a hell of a lot more talent. And now having 8 women's pro teams, and we have like 2 new ones with the Terrapins and you know, Black Ice, and then Palma Golden Knights Academy putting in too. Like this can only grow, which is like super exciting. And then we see these young kids, these U19s coming up. You know, even the Terrapins, like we have a girl coming in from New Zealand. Which is yeah, we're international. Let's go. Yeah, this girl Amber Metcalf, who I think is going to make a huge dent. And I've got some girls from Arizona coming in with the Terrapins that have only played men's hockey, and they're going to turn some heads. I'm kind of excited. Yeah. And like just to see that, I think like what women's hockey has been needing is champions of it. And I think like Laura Varanta and Ali Era in particular, but on the West Coast, and then Miranda Lemus, you know, who founded the Black Ice team. She's out on the East Coast, and then I'm in Arizona trying really hard to also like keep pushing people and putting people together and bringing more women to the tournament. And so like I think like that's what it needed. It needed like coast to coast representation and people being like, hey, let's do this. Like let's put a team together. And like, you know, Ali giving us all a showcase to like see, you know, where everyone stacks up so that we can put people in the right divisions is awesome. I genuinely can't wait. And like, it's funny, like the older I get, like the more feminist I become too. Like, I'm like, yeah, let's go women. Cause like I know it sounds crazy, right? But like growing up, I was like, I don't want to play with the women. I just want to play with the men. And now I can like say for the first time in my life that I'm like, I'm cool playing with the women. Like they're talented as hell. Yeah. Like you see some of the moves that like Tia Stoddard at Ringster pulls off. Like, oh, Tia, this is for you. I just missed the poke check. It was cool, and I'm glad that Darren put it on the highlight reel. But I just missed the poke check. She's gonna kill me, but that was a sick move. But you know, you're like just seeing all this like talent come up, and like I think it's gonna be exciting. And I hope people will, you know, turn out to the games for women's pro and kind of get excited, and that we can inspire some new generations. You know, even the Terrapins, we put together a U13 girls team as well, which is their first girls team. So
that's awesome.
Really excited. Yeah, I'm really excited to help coach that as well, and like just keep, you know, bringing the women's game forward.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Is, you know, growing the sport. You know, we can grow roller hockey, but we all know that it's a male dominant sport at the moment, and there's no one like Justin and I. Exactly, and that's why, you know, Justin and I, like, we're glad to have you on because we want to interview more women roller players.
Yeah,
like it's something that we have made it from the beginning. We just haven't been able to connect with a lot of them, and like whether they don't. Most of the time, I don't think we make it out of their requested on their DMs. Right. We also, when we started reaching out to people, we weren't really. That was almost a year ago as well. Yeah. So
I used to just send pictures of me waving. I think that just creeped everyone out.
I was gonna say, I'm like, I just got instantly creeped. I'm like, that might have been the problem there.
I'm just kidding. No.
I didn't have like the 40-year-old on the dating app picture. That would have been the one. You know, that's true. But yeah, no, I think part of it too, and is like, I don't know, maybe this is just like me, but I know that it took me a really long time to be outspoken about women's sports, to feel comfortable about making noise, to be comfortable demanding equal treatment and saying like, hey, I'm good enough. I should be in this league regardless of not if I'm a male or a female. Like, I'm a good goalie. Let me play in this league. And you know, I think also like there's still a lot of slack that women get, and when we try to do that, when we try to insert ourselves and say, hey, we're good enough, we should be in this, and let the best player play. And so I think like part of the thing too, is getting women that aren't afraid to get flack, from people who might think that like, oh, they're being arrogant or they're, being braggadocious. Because I think as women, female athletes, we're still told not to be. We're still told you have to be like, even if it's false humility, you have to be humble. Don't rock the boat too much. Just be grateful for everything. And I'm kind of just, at 38 and I'm going to swear for the first time, like, fuck that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, I just, and I know some people are going to disagree with that. I know I'm going to rub people the wrong way, but I'm just done being quiet, I think. So that's kind of where I'm at.
I don't think you got to worry about that.
No, yeah. And that's the thing is like, and, I'm a person, and so is Justin, that, oh, yes, I am a person. But
oh my God.
You're all people,
thanks for laughing, Justin. But like Justin,
yeah.
Justin and I are, individuals that we're like, if something is wrong, we have no problem calling it out, right?
Yeah.
We have also, let's be honest here, the roller world in our country is, some people do not like to be the face of the topic and they get upset.
Right.
But if it's the truth that's being talked about, then that's one thing, right? Obviously lies are another, but we're not here to sit there and spread lies. We're here to talk about truths, right?
Right.
And so, and that's why, where Justin and I like to see women's pro prizes being as much as men's pro prizes.
Right.
And stuff like that. And it's like, you look at a men's pro prize and you're like, oh, that's a good chunk of money. And you look at a women's and it's maybe half.
But I think part of that, now that I'm like GMing a pro team and like kind of seeing the back end of it, is that it keeps the price more affordable for us.
Sure.
And we, like Parker with the Terrapins, Kalman and I, we've been trying to find sponsors for the team for like 6 months. No one wants to sponsor a women's team. The men's team pots get to be bigger because they have sponsorships going in. Like, Palma is backed by the Najars, and so you're going to get a higher prize pot because they can afford to put more in. And I think like one of the biggest things that needs to happen besides like having champions that for women's sports is that like we also need to have some of those corporate sponsors. I've been really grateful to champion hooking our draft team up so much because that felt like an outright support of women's sports. So like as a captain, I went out of my way to post on social media about them. I had the girls posting on social media. I'm like, we need to encourage the philanthropy for women's sports. And the only way we're going to do that is, like help support the business too. And it has to be a symbiotic relationship, I feel like. And that's kind of been missing.
Agreed.
A little bit. I do think like there is still, and it's a good thing in a lot of respects, but I think there's still like a little bit of an entitlement attitude, with a lot of people that like, well, of course this should be paid for, of course this should be, and like that's the new generation, like expecting things to be that way, which is really good on one hand, but on the other hand, these business owners are from my generation, so we, where equality wasn't really like, wasn't taught the same way. As it is now. So we need to respect those small businesses and also give them support and like make it worth their while. Like, and remember, it's a business transaction at the end of the day. Like, you're sponsoring someone not necessarily out of the good of your heart, but also to promote your brand. So we need to help do that and grow it. And then I think those prize pots will be the same. And hopefully State Wars will get on board with having a pro division for women as well. But like, again, it's a little bit tougher because we just don't have the funding, to go on to these tournaments and to pay high entry fees. But it would be cool too to see that on the men's side where like every single team is sponsored by like a roller company and then it's like the battle of the companies. Like that'd be so rad. I would love to see that.
That would be awesome. And it's something that we would like to see is like, and I think what would help, and Justin and I have talked about this plenty of times, right? Is more exposure, right? So yes, you look at all the pro men's, they get live streamed and they get highlighted and everything like that. Well, let's make the extra effort on the women's side too, right?
Yeah,
You know,
agreed.
it's and it's been quite on like it smacked me in the face just recently on when people make posts on social media or roster reveals or stuff like that. It's women get left out.
We do, yeah.
You know, like you look at it and you have worlds coming up, and yeah, they did men's and women's post, and then they did men's junior, I think, was posted as well, but the women's junior wasn't.
Right, I know. Yeah.
And I'm like, why do 3 teams and not the 4th team? It's odd to me that stuff like this happens when it's like you all do is ask for another roster and make a 4th template.
Right.
And I just feel like as people in the roller hockey world, we can do better.
Yeah. No, it's like refreshing, but also like startling to hear a man like even have the foresight to like see that these things are happening. And even like seeing how disparate the engagement is on the posts too, in terms of like impressions and likes and comments. It's just cool that that's something that you've noticed. But yeah, no, I think like when you like, especially video, I think that like that's the way to go. You like, and Darren, you know, obviously cuts some really cool videos, but I would love to see the women featured more. I really would. It'd also be nice, Darren, I'm begging you, show a goalie making a save for once.
I always feel bad for goalies on that regards.
Oh my God.
There's always way more. Yeah, there's always way more like sick goals.
Never make
and you're
saves.
like,
I've been on the reel twice for getting scored on. Twice. I'm like, Darren, please. Like, people want to see us make saves, I swear. But like,
that's how you make new goalies.
Yeah, right. Or you just make people feel like, yeah, that's how I'm gonna end up. Nope. But like FMT doing like the sick videos they do, especially covering like the league out in France. Some of the women, although I wish they did more, and then LA Productions, like you have these sick production companies that are like making these videos. Yeah, like I'd love to be, you know, on more scissor reels just because I'm a little bit vain. But I'd also like to just like see more women because like I'll share it. Like anytime I see something like that, I'm constantly sharing it. You know, but we need to be united too as women and not just rely on men to do it. Like we need to carve our own path and like also be sharing it. Like every single woman on a pro team, if there's like a pro announcement roster, should be sharing that in their story. Every single one. Like if Allie does a video on women's roller hockey featuring a player, we should all be sharing it in our stories. Like we have to do that too and grow the game from within. And like that onus has to be on us too. Like I think it's definitely both sides, but I think we as women need to be more proactive in promoting ourselves, and not keep waiting for people to do it for us. Because I know, like, I imagine if we hit any of these production companies and said, "Hey, could you cut a video of like the women's pro?" They'd be like, "Hell yeah, let's do it." I'm like, "But we have to ask." Right? Worst they can say is no, but I don't think they would. Like, y'all have been called
out. Well, and that's something that I think roller hockey as a whole needs to do better is get more eyes on the sport.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough though, because you know you don't have like these huge. I mean, you kind of have these world tournaments, right? But then they rely on like really like shaky camera. They're not really like broadcast. They're not like the production quality needs to be more. Otherwise, people aren't going to care. Yeah. And then not really having like traditional pro leagues like in North America, like what we would actually consider pro. Like, yeah, it's going to be hard to get eyeballs on the sport because we call ourselves pro, but realistically, like it's pro in name only. Like, because there's a prize club, but none of us are making like a living doing it here in America, at least, right?
It's true. But I mean, it's like other sports, like golf is tournament based. There's no like league. Tennis.
Yeah. Fair.
You know, there's other sports where it's about just like we come together for this short time. This is when you're watching. Get in here. And we just need to stop trying to be ice hockey. Yeah. We're not ice hockey. It's a totally different thing.
It is. Yeah. Different vibe too. A little more swagger in inline. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a great point. Like I tip my hat to you. Like I fully agree. Hadn't even thought of that. You outsmarted me, Justin. But yeah, like But I do think just like production quality and like leveraging social media is going to be like a big part of it. Like, I hope they make a bunch of cuts from like the Pan American Games they'll be going to at the end of the month, and then like from Worlds. But like, I would love to see that like high production quality. I think like, and then let people know the personalities. Like, as a roller community, we all know the personalities. But if I talk to people all the time, like, what's roller hockey? I'm like, really? Like, and like, and I'm American from Alaska, and we didn't even really know what it was. We didn't like. I'd never heard of Narch. I'd never heard of any of this stuff until a year ago. So I think like leveraging social media is going to be like the big way to go. But hopefully with the National Development Program and everything they're doing, that's going to kind of raise the cachet. But I'd also love to see news stories. I mean, like that's the stuff the general public doesn't know, like about this sport yet. It's like there's no one handling like this PR part of it that needs to happen.
Well, and I feel like, and you're right on that point. On that part, right, is like no one is handling the PR part of it, and no one is kind of putting out the new stories, and we're kind of still living off of starting in the '90s with Wayne Gretzky and wherever he went, that roller hockey followed him and stuff like that, and and some few stories that have been published, and we get a little more glimpse of newer stories when we have an NHL guy that's played roller like Bedard or but yeah, it's just there's just it's finding that way to get it more mainstream, right? Yeah. Justin and I look at it all the time, and we're like, why the hell is cornhole on ESPN?
We talk about, that's a fascinating sport.
Yeah, it's so interesting. It's got to be on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, the show.
Yeah, and it's like, and then sometimes it's even on ESPN. They're not even ESPN too, just ESPN. And it's like, there's so many better sports.
Well, there's also the World Tag Championships, which that is also on ESPN. I found it at like 2 a.m. Fascinating stuff.
Holy crap!
But yeah, like I mean, I think like roller needs its personalities too, and then we need big brands, like Bauer, to get on board as well, like in using their platform. If like we post about a roller player on something like Bauer, or even Mission or whatever, who's got these has like 40, 50,000 followers, 100,000 followers. All of a sudden now they're like, wait, what's this roller thing? And then you deep dive. I mean, that's how we explore things. On social media, like we all just keep like clicking links and stuff, and like we need like one of those big companies to take an interest. And, like I've been trying to work with Vaughn for like the last 3-4 months to actually like set up like a booth at Narch or something, and like try to break into the market with Vaughn pads, because there's not a lot of people doing it. And then I would cross post on their page and our page, and then all of a sudden like roller just reached 100,000 new people that didn't know it was a thing. And
smart.
Like like it's all I have a marketing brain. I've worked in journalism and marketing, and like all I keep thinking is like all you need is like the right brand to take some interest and to feature you, even if it's like a takeover or something. Like that's enough to get a bunch of people interested.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I found Jetta, even was just like, oh, I want to be good at roller. I just started Googling and diving down the hole and figuring out what there was. And now I know about Tour Skates and Levada and like all of these brands, and it was all from social media. Like pretty much any roller player I know is from social media.
Yeah.
Well, I think that we need more viewership of the sport. And I just did some quiz number crunching.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what he was doing with the pen over there for like 20 minutes. I was like,
all right.
that was trademark, Justin.
And sticking on with women, PWHL decided to go YouTube, right? That's how you watch the games.
Yep.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. They have 113K subscribers. Okay.
Yep.
State Wars has 2.5K.
Dude, and State Wars has how many teams?
Sorry?
State Wars has how many teams, too? It's like 300 teams.
Yeah.
They have Narch has 6.15K. Tours only has 488. Nasher has 916K. Why aren't we just broadcasting all the games on his channel?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's almost 9 times more than the PWHL.
Yeah. well, not even just broadcast, but like do it with multi-camera setups. Make it exciting, right? Not that like overhead thing that we all try to look at with live bar and you can't really tell what's happening. Like what's really sick out what's like sick out of here is like, so we've got Keith Couture out of our rink here in Peoria who wears a helmet cam for games, and it's actually been like really cool. Like I just posted a picture or a video of like Devin Chiro just absolutely destroying me last week. But like what was cool is that like it was close and I was able to do like a slow motion version of it, and like that reel within 2 hours had 1,400 views. You know, and like that's what it needs. It needs like a couple cameras and like a production facility, like actually cutting it and treating it like an NHL game. Dude, people would love it. Like inline is a cool sport. And like the hands, like the silky mitts are just like, like I cannot believe some of the shit that I see, and that roller guys do. And like, yeah, I would watch that channel all day long, and I know we get people excited, but it's got to be done right, you know.
Well, and I feel as if going off the camera angles, I feel as if like, for instance, watching tours a couple weeks ago, right? Too many camera angles.
Oh, where it's just flipping off and you get like,
It's like, I like the main one where it goes back and forth, right? And I like the ones above the goals because then they do above the goals and they do goal replays and those are sick. But then they got into like corner views and then, you know, guys in the penalty box and just kind of like hand moving it and stuff like that. And it's too much.
That's so cool. That's like ice hockey. That's cool.
Yeah, but if you look at it from a viewership side, right, and you have an unsteady hand, and then you also you flip to this guy who's now back delayed. He's delayed, right? And so it's like, if we're not going to have the perfect broadcasting where every camera is following the play and it's not going to be perfect, then I think we need to realize that we need to cut some of these angles out.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Yeah, no, you don't want to like
keep it simple.
Yeah.
I mean, like Blair Witch Project in roller form would be unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, it took
Blair Witch did pretty good.
I mean, you got to look at it too, right? It took the PWHL all season to get on major TV.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't until, you know, let's be honest here, it wasn't until they started selling. They started on like I think it was college.
And then they kept moving it to like the Bell Center and stuff.
The Bell Center, and they kept getting more and more attendance, and then the TV broadcasts were like, "Oh shit, we should probably air this on national television during the playoffs."
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, where was this all year?
Yeah. Well, like luckily, I mean, Billie Jean King and the Women's Sports Foundation was like a huge push for that too. You know, and like again, it's just like getting the right people in the room. You know, like mountains can get moved if you get the right people in the room. And I feel like that's kind of what happened with the PWHL, and I think it could happen with roller. Like, I'm literally baffled by the fact that like there isn't like the LA Times isn't writing a story about Narch every single year. That they're not doing a ton of coverage. Like they're not interviewing Tom Chivera like about you know what he's doing with Dingle Dojo, and like there's so many stories, and I'm like actually baffled as a journalist as to why you know none of these have been pitched to the media, because I guarantee you the media has no idea.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Is I feel like if it doesn't land on their desk, they'll never report on it.
No, it really comes down to like needing a savvy PR person who's going to like suss out those stories and write a press release that's killer. You know, and be like, because you guys had no idea my backstory, right? With like what I've overcame with like injury and illness, and like, and now it's this like really cool story that like could be written about because there's this backstory. Everybody's got one. You know, I mean, you just need like Narch and Saywars, like they need that PR person who's going to find those like stories and like pitch them to the media. Because like I know there's other people out there who've overcome like major illness and like, you know, hardship to keep playing and to like excel in what they're doing. So like, I mean, my plea to to Darren and Tim, if you want a PR person, I know a girl. But like I would love to see it. Like I really would love to see the sport grow, and like it's not like anything I'd ever seen. You know, like when I came here and started playing roller, I thought beach pro roller was roller. Like, I didn't understand why there weren't banked tracks. Like, I was genuinely confused because, like, that was, you know, when USA Hockey was involved, that was the last part I heard about roller. Remember in the magazines they used to do like the roller editions in the summer.
Yeah.
And like they were all, it was always like beach for roller. I thought that was roller. You know, it just needs to be like a re-education and like getting the right media people excited because that's a huge story. And then, you know, even if you talk about like the economics of Narch and like what that brings into the Irvine community every year, like how many like hundreds of thousands of dollars does it bring in?
Exactly.
Like there's so many angles.
Yeah.
I get excited.
No. And I have to say too, though, that and I think you probably already said it, but the women's roller hockey Instagram, when they started that up, and that was that Allie and
Laura,
right? Mm-hmm. When they started that up, they took over social media and I mean it's still I mean I go there quite often honestly to see what they're posting and stuff, but like they were on it, they were posting it, they brought a whole new light to women's roller hockey.
And
that's and you know it's like exactly, and so now it's also like what else can we do for, you know, for the sport too, right? It's like sure they started outlining women's roller hockey, but now it shouldn't be up to two women, right? It should be up to all of us. It should be up to all of us to kind of share their videos, share bios. And I also think that maybe we need to start doing more interviews at the rink.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be cool. Or like even just like how does roller work, you know, or like what are the rules? Like I feel like it would do so much for the sport to just have like a film, like to have one of the media outlets cover this Narch. Like, you know, could you imagine like the local news like coming out and doing video? Like as reporters, we're always like chasing the same beat, trying to do it better than the other person. So you get one, we just are, you know, so like you get one camera crew out there and they do a story, you're going to get 3 or 4 more, and they're going to try to tell different stories. And then all of a sudden you've got like some momentum on it. Like that needs to happen. I mean, it's huge. We should be making noise. Like it's to have 340 teams come through in 10 days. It's just like absurd.
Yeah.
Or like do a feature on Darren. Like how do you put together a schedule like that? Like how does that even work? Like
I bet they're glad to have computers.
I know.
Can you imagine doing that on paper?
Bro, I made the joke when I was like, what do you use like AI and set the Terrapin schedule at like expert hard? So we have Palma and Brinks on the same day. I was like, damn it, Terrapin. But like it would be cool, or like someone makes a pitch to like Netflix or like an indie documentary about like this tournament too. I mean, it just I like now I'm getting ideas of like shit, I should do that. But yeah, like I think that's just like all it needs. Like Netflix just did a documentary on sprinters. And I'm watching it now called Sprint, and I was like, wow, like actually the sprint sport's kind of cool. Like I like running, I didn't think it was a cool thing, but now after watching this, I think it is. So imagine people seeing something like a documentary on Netflix or whatever about like roller. Because I think there's enough like cool characters to make it worthwhile. Like that would be I'd watch it.
That was another thing I was writing down. When you're like, what's this guy doing writing all this stuff down? I was actually starting the screenplay for the roller story about your life.
There you go. It was Netflix. There you go. I'm like, what was it? It was a cold and dark night. Well, it wasn't actually because the sun doesn't go down in the summer. Never mind. It was a bright, sunny day at 2 a.m. in Alaska. Yeah, no, I mean, like, I would like maybe, you know, you guys might just give me the idea of like maybe I might do like little features on my page at Narch. I think that would be really cool. Like interview like rando players like that I just met or had a good game and be like, what's your roller story? That would be cool.
Hey, do a women's takeover of the women's roller hockey page.
Yeah. I know I'm gonna be doing one for the Terrapins hockey, which is gonna be cool for women's pro, but yeah, maybe I should make it into a little passion project, like and combine photography. And that you guys just got me really excited. I'm like, hey, this is so cool. It's like rollers really, it's given me so much in the last year. Like, I mean, it gave me a second chance. like couldn't say that more succinctly other than like it gave me a second chance to like live my dream. And to wear like a USA team jersey and to play pro again, which is just like not so. I thought that chapter in my life was completely over. Sorry, I'm gonna get emotional, but like I thought all of that was over, and rollers giving me this like second chance at life, and I'm so grateful to it. So like I'm so passionate about wanting to give back to it because it like literally changed my life, which is insane.
Yeah,
it was the 5 wheels. a love story on 5 wheels. 4 right now because I keep breaking them.
Now, let's talk Narch because that is very soon for you.
Yes, yeah, leaving 2 a.m. Tomorrow morning. So
right,
yeah.
So women's Narch Pro.
Yes.
You have eight teams, right? You are now leading the new women's team of Terrapins into the pro division. There's now another new team, the Pama Golden Knights Academy. You have the Haichu, the NCI Phoenix. Of course, you have Pama Golden Knights. You have Revel, Rinkster Factory, and Black Ice. Right.
Yep.
I mean, who? There's a lot of scary women in roller hockey.
Yeah.
But who's the scariest for you to go up against?
I don't really like. I don't get the scaries playing against anyone because, like I said, this is like my second chance. So I'm just like that candy shop who's just stoked. But I will say my favorite player, bar none, to play against. She knows it. I just told her yesterday on Instagram. I have the receipts. Is Laura Baranta. Absolute favorite player to play against. She's shifty. She's fast as hell. She's so strong. Like I don't even get mad when she muscles my team off the puck. I'm like, that was sick. And she's got one of the hardest shots in roller. Like, I just love playing against her. Like, I think we match up well. She'll score a few. I'll make a few big saves. Like, it's always a game where we're going back and forth. Sometimes when she shoots, I feel like there's hate behind the shot, so it hurts a little extra. People like when you're like they're sending you malice in this shot. But like I feel like that with her, it's so much fun. Like I just love playing against her, and I'm really excited for Brooke Bryant too. She's I believe also going to be with Rinkster. Like that team's going to be deadly. But I've heard so many things about Brooke playing in the PWHL. I'm really excited. Like getting challenged on a shot is like so much fun. Like that's where I'm in my element. Is in a really tough game where like every single shot is a scoring opportunity and like you have to be on. Like I am having the time of my life when that's happening. And then like crazily enough, man, when someone snipes me, I'm like, dude, that was sick. Like good job. Like I don't even get mad. I was like, that was sick. That's gonna end up on a highlight reel. I know it. I can feel it. And like that's cool. Like I just like getting to see this level of competition. It's epic.
And you took the words out of my mouth too, because I was actually going to go right into, there being a PWHL player playing for a women's pro roller. So no, it's great. I mean, and that's it's awesome to see that someone who plays at such a high level in women's ice hockey is playing women's roller hockey.
Yeah, it's epic.
Great for the sport.
Yeah, but like Laura, she came from the ice world. She played at Providence College. Jen Friedman also played at Providence College. Allie was a roller girl, but also played college ice hockey. Like, there's quite a bit of us that are coming over, which is really cool. So you're getting like, when like Jen Friedman tees one up, like you're getting a D1 women's slap shot, and you're like, yes, I'm reliving my glory days, and it hurts so good. Like it really goes though, Jen. No, but like I love that. Like that's it. It's cool. Like you're getting like I'm like literally feel like I'm just like reliving my glory days of like playing this really elite hockey. That's so much fun now because I feel less pressure because I have the fallback of I'm old. Like, like that gets to be my fallback for life now since I'm 38. Well, I did my best to mold. So now we're just going to have fun.
Now, how do you think your team matches up this coming weekend?
So this weekend we're gonna have a 30 plus, women's 30 plus, which is gonna be the first time ever.
Okay.
I actually have no idea who's on anyone's roster, so we're gonna be great. I have no idea. So for women's pro, like a lot of us haven't played together. We've got quite a few girls that are coming up from gold, making the jump up to pro. I think we have some really solid lines. Like I said, I have some girls that have never played women's hockey. They've only played men's out here in Arizona, and they're gonna be sick. One to watch is Morgan Benoit. Like that girl can wheel. Like she's legit. But I feel like Rinkster a perennial like team to beat. Palma just released their roster today. They look really sick as per usual. So glad that I have those two teams on the same day. But yeah, like I haven't seen Haichu's roster. I'm not really sure who's on NCI, so there's like or Rebels, so there's definitely some like I don't know, we'll see what happens. But I think there's gonna be like two probably runaway teams, and the rest of us will kind of be a pack, would be my guess. But like Miracle and Ice happened. The Miracle on a Roller Court just happened with GCU, so. Yeah. Maybe Arizona's going to bring some luck. I don't know. Maybe I'll have Aiden Schwetz rub my head for good luck. Maybe Jacob, Max Curry, be like, right here, buddy. Perhaps he can anoint my blocker and glove before the tournament. So always room for an upset. You really never know, especially with 4 games and 2 days. Like injuries happen, fatigue happens. Like. Maybe diuretics in their water bottles happen. Who knows? At least Justin heard it. I'm kidding. I would never. But yeah, like you never know in tournament settings. That's why they're so exciting. It's not like league play where you have more chances. You get one chance, and that's exciting because anybody can beat anybody in one game.
Well, and you pointed out something, and I completely missed it. Which is that there is a women's 30 and over division.
Yeah, first year. We're really excited. There's going to be 4 strong teams. There's quite a few of us that played pro. Originally, Rinkster, I was going to play for Rinkster. Finally going to play with Laura instead of getting sniped by her. So I'm bummed that didn't work out. But then Darren was concerned about having like women's pro teams and like legit women's pro teams in the 30 over division. So we kind of ended up just like splitting up and going to a bunch of different divisions. But I think there's going to be some really solid like pro level players in it, which should be really fun. But more than that, like the names are amazing. Like the Golden Gals really makes me super happy, and like the Old Lady Rollers, which is at like 30. It's like, come on, guys. But yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to like see how the older girls wheel. If you talk to a lot of people, like 30 plus is really the best women's roller players. Like we're all in our 30s now because we all came from D1 Ice and like played both sports, and like so I think it's gonna be pretty good. It'll be a good warm up.
Yeah, it's it's a breakthrough we like to see though, right?
Yeah.
Because usually, I'll be honest, I mean, played, I'm 33 now, and I've gotten to crack into some over 30 and stuff like that, especially like, let's say, tours nationals and stuff. And I'm like, holy crap, guys are supposed to slow down in their 30s, not be the best division and tournament next to pro. I'm like, holy crap.
I heard that about 30s. Yeah. Well, but like, I think like in our 30s, we're like still like young enough to like wheel wicked hard, and like also still young enough to think that we're in shape. And so like I feel like as 30-year-olds go like harder in the paint somehow. Like I played in a vets league for ice hockey back home, and like, dude, it's not like the Toby McGraw song, like I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm as good as I once was once, or whatever, however that thing goes. Yeah. Like I feel like that's the 30-year-old mentality. Like 40 is still kind of crazy. 50, I don't know, man. Those guys are like too old to be wheeling that hard. A lot of times you're like, boys, calm down. You're like a VP at a bank. Like, calm down. But like, no.
But it's just such good hockey too, because of all of the accumulated knowledge and just
Well, and
it's smart
honestly,
hockey.
like, and we're all like fueled by beer. Like the other thing probably happening a lot because everything hurts so much more. Like, man, I have to absence all then like Gatorade and like do the whole thing now, which is embarrassing because I never did that as a youth. But no, I think like you're almost more competitive in your 30s somehow. Like, I'm like, this is my second win. I can do it. You know, coming into my walker to these games.
You're like strong for a weekend, and then Monday comes around after tournament, and you're like, oh, I'm so sore.
Oh my God, yeah. Or like each night after you played, you're like, I don't know what the hell, what just happened. I don't even know. Like, I live on Ben Gay. Like, Ben Gay, C4. So I like, it's probably just poison. I don't know. But that like energy drink you get from Walmart. Like, once I'm Ben Gayed up and like caffeinated at like 400 milligrams, so I'm like tweaking out, then I'm ready to play. Maybe that's where all the energy comes from. In 30s, because we're all the same way.
Yeah.
I just leave a bottle of smelling salts on the bench.
Oh my God, what is that? That's a thing. I keep seeing all these 30-year-olds like in the leagues out here with the smelling salts. So like, you want some? I'm like, no, that's a thing.
Cocaine's illegal, so you got to do the next best thing.
Oh my God, the amount of 30-year-olds with smelling salts, you're not wrong. I'm always like,
it gets the people going.
Yeah. Ben Gay is my smelling salt, I guess. The only problem is like you always have to put it on your groin as a goalie, and then like I wear full length pants. You can see where this is going. You get a little bit of sweat. Dude, that's my smelling salt.
Yeah.
It's just Ben Gay in areas that should not have Ben Gay. Happens a lot.
I see where you're going there, and that seems like it would definitely wake you up.
Yeah, and then when you sweat, you know how like it just gets more intense, like the capstan gets more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, chief burning balls, as my mom would call it. You ever see me twitching out there? You know what's going on.
That's hilarious. I love that.
I will say this. This is a warning for people who buy smelling salts off Amazon. Do not leave a review that says it's awesome and you use it for hockey.
Oh my God! Why? What happened?
Oh, then it gets sold out.
Yeah, then that it gets sold out, but then they also just take it off the market for a little while.
No way, really?
Yeah.
Are there sports that are approved for smelling salts? Like
no, it's for medical use only.
Well, keeping your heart going at like 80 degrees and 40% humidity seems like that's medical.
Well, I left a nice 5-star review on a box of smelling salts, and they turned around and said, please don't use this for sports. This is for medical use only.
Yeah, they should have sponsored you, man. What's up?
Yeah. Dude, that'd be an awesome sponsor.
Can you imagine the salty bitches? Oh my God, it would happen. Dude. Yes.
Sold.
Yeah, done. I'm like, all right, Parker, we're rebranding.
I'm a big fan of that.
Terrapin's turtle logo with salty bitches on it.
The salty bitches.
Oh man.
So many good ideas coming out of this.
It's usually what happens on this show.
Well, 2 goalies in a chat. What are you gonna do? That's why Justin's just been so quiet. Like, all right, weirdos, do you?
Hey,
he dresses up.
I played goalie yesterday. I let in every single shot, but I did play.
Does that play though? If you just stand there, you pyloned.
Yeah, no, I was moving around.
The pylons can be moved.
Hey, come on.
Damn.
Oh. Just for that, I'm going to steal salty bitches before you can get to it.
Oh, that's messed up. Well, you already stole my other ideas. Like right from there, they were trademarked.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh. It's not even being broadcast right now. He's just been writing notes the whole time, so he just snipe it.
Yeah, exactly. There's actually
no recording.
No recording.
I have no proof.
We've just been talking here for over an hour for just to talk.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's nice. I'm chatty. I told you guys.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, is there anything that you want to you want to highlight?
Yeah. Obviously I think like the Pan American Games hasn't gotten or I guess there's a specific name I'm supposed to use or Dave may kill me. Pan American Inline Hockey Championships coming up here at the end of the month. There's going to be a lot of like players that haven't been on like the main national team, but this is kind of like all of our chance to like prove that we can play at that level. On the men's side, you've got like people like Marv Simmons is going to be playing, which is really cool. Devin Chiro, we're going to finally see play at like an even more competitive level. Like this kid's sick. He usually plays platinum with Vegas. Now going to be doing this. I think he's going to lead the way. Then you've got like longtime guys like Ryan Marker, who we all know and love. Like shout out to Marker if he's listening.
He's always listening.
I know, right? He did send me a fire emoji earlier, so. And then like some younger guys are going to be doing it too. With Damian Macias, he's only 15 out of Texas, and like so you're going to get some young guys too. Hopefully there's going to be video of this, which would be really cool. And then I think on the women's side, interestingly enough, we're like all in like 30 plus ish club. So it's going to be a bunch of us coming out of retirement to prove that we still have it, smelling salts included.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I think our oldest on the team is actually Sandra Check, out of here, of Peoria. She's from Chicago originally. She's 42. So wicked sick that she's still going to be wheeling around out there. She's also one of my best friends, so shout out to Sandra.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm actually excited. There's a lot of people are going to be wearing the USA jersey for the first time, on both the men's and women's side. So I think it's going to be a really cool thing. And hopefully, USARS does a lot of posting. If not, definitely check out the roster on USARS, inlinehockey.org, and like try to follow some of those players on Insta. Give us a little bit of love. It'd be rad.
Yeah, and we'll try and find the link for if there's a lot. There should be. I think there's a live stream for it. But if we find it, we will post it, and we will definitely get that. Let people know when games are and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, and and hopefully we'll see a bunch of you guys at Norwich. If you heard this podcast and like the idea of like doing a player feature, I'm gonna have my camera there. I was already bringing it. I'd love to do something. I think it'd be really cool to do like featured players at Norwich, and like tell roller stories, like get our name out there. So nothing else comes with this podcast. That would be sick.
Yeah, I mean, hey, do it.
I think. Yeah, I kind of.
And when you post them, tag us on them. We'll share it.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. That's what we got to do. I'll keep sharing no offside stuff unless I look like a dork today, in which case I will not be sharing this. Justin's like, too late, bro.
No, you're good.
The look on your face, man. He's like, you're gonna hang up and be like, that was a ride.
We have a goalie in our league.
Yeah.
And you remind me of her a little bit.
Ooh, which one?
Her name's Monica. And she's always worried about things too she shouldn't be worried about. You're cool. You're good at hockey. You're playing on crazy teams, but you're worried about looking like a dork. It's crazy. No, you've been great. You've been a great guest.
Dude, perpetual fear of goalies. What are you gonna do? There's no saving it. We are dorks. Like I need to just let it go.
No, I think it's been great having you.
Yeah, it's been a blast having you on here. We appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, super fun. Thanks to anyone who listened in. Sorry if I swore too much. I think I only hit 2, which was pretty good. Not that I was counting.
Should we do more now?
It was probably 2.8.
Everybody say their favorite swear word. 1, 2, 3, fuck. Oh, I'm not gonna do it with me. Okay.
I went multicultural.
Dan's a teacher.
I'm a teacher. I'll just go Shizer.
There you go.
We're multicultural. Let's go.
Yeah.
But hey, O'Hara, we much appreciate you giving us your time, because we know you have to travel.
Yeah.
And
about 12 hours.
Yeah, about 12 hours for you. And so, like I said, we are happy to have you. We are very thankful to have you on our show. And so thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. It was a lot of fun. Always love talking roller.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and we'll, like I said, we'll reach out to you and see if we can get you on in the future, and maybe have some topics for you to talk about, and we'll go from there.
We get Eric too. We can have two.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, absolutely.
We're pretty funny
together. Sounds great.
Yeah, it's 2 goalies, right? So.
Upset, yeah. We're twins.
So, but if you're forechecking in roller hockey, don't let up because there's no offsides. I'm Dan Dean.
I'm Justin Wood.
O'Hara, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you very much.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks.
See everybody.
No offside.